Eileen, are you there? Start the video. Maybe too early.
Go to settings.
He's not on yet. It may be too early. What time is it? 6:46.
Quarter up. It's too early. Go to settings.
Hey, Joe, I'm here.
Okay, thank you. Can you see me?
Yes.
I can't see you yet.
Video.
Are you, did you start your? You start your camera?
For some reason, there we go. Wasn't
There
working.
you are.
There I am.
How are you? I had all kinds of problems in getting on today. There's only one case on today, right? I'm seeing two other people come on, but I can't see their faces.
They don't have their video on.
Oh, they don't have the video on yet?
No.
Eileen, can you tell me if Mary is in the audience?
She's not.
She's not yet?
No.
Hey, Joe.
Hi, Steve. How
Hey,
are
Eileen.
you?
Eileen, how are you?
All right, I got it. All right.
Happy New Year.
You too.
Thank you. You too.
All right.
So no Mary, no Gail, huh?
Do I have to do anything with start video?
Yeah, you have to start video, Phil.
All right.
Yeah, it's gonna be new attorney.
Who was that?
Um,
No, all right, I hear it.
but
All right. All right. Goodbye. Oh, my God.
Be careful what you say. We can hear you now.
Yeah, that's okay. Thank you. Who's the new attorney?
Rob Simon.
Rob Simon.
Uh-huh. I don't like the way I look on the screen here.
Ah, you look good, Phil. Don't
I don't
worry.
look that good. I can't believe this. Do I really look like this in real life?
I usually say, do I really sound like that?
Something's wrong. I mean, this is not good.
You know, you look a little bit like Joey Bishop.
God.
Like who?
I mean, when he was alive, you know.
Oh, I didn't know what you meant. Oh,
I was around long enough to watch Johnny Carson for a few years.
oh my God. I have to go to a beauty
Come on.
place or something.
Come on,
Any
Steve.
salon,
Steve, you're just a baby.
I'm telling you.
I thought it was
Eileen?
better than this. Okay.
Eileen,
Yes,
I have a question for you.
what's that?
At the last meeting, or maybe it was the one before that, there was some people from 10 Alexander Lane.
Yes, I haven't received anything from them
You
yet.
haven't received anything from them,
No.
okay.
They're on the next agenda, but I haven't
They're on the-
received
They're
any.
on the agenda for February 1.
Yes.
I didn't know whether they were going to withdraw or not, so I wanted to just ask if you'd heard from them.
Not yet. Everybody's late signing on today. I don't know why. I want to just tell Mr. Teichauer, I don't know how to pronounce your name. You're the applicant. Just stay in the attendees category. Once we're ready for your application, I will bring you over. I just don't want you to think we don't see you. I see you there. At the appropriate time, once we've gotten through all the preliminary stuff, minutes and resolutions and chairman, we will
And
start the
other
application and that.
Lots
will-
of
that
other
will bring you-
stuff.
Lots of good stuff.
Quite the holiday sweater you got on there, Joe.
What are you eating, Steve? You even have
Thank you.
snacks when you are working from home? Are they M&Ms?
Gummy bears.
Gummy, ew, yuck. I don't like
Did you
gummies.
say, ooh, yuck?
I don't like gummy anything. Ugh.
He can have all the M&Ms he wants.
There you go. Should have that.
Yeah.
I took an oath for a dry January, so
Yeah.
I
those
should
are
have picked February. It's a shorter month, but you know,
Who did you take this oath with?
myself, it's like they tell you to, try to do a dry January. I wasn't, it sounded like a good idea at the time. I'm kind of
Yeah.
rethinking that, but
I did that 2 years ago and I haven't had a drink since.
I did it for 6 months. I just stopped drinking and
Yeah.
felt remarkable. Like just you don't realize, but
So Joe, about that sweater,
Yes.
is that like a big snowflake on the front?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah. I'll sell it to
No,
you.
you should be in a ski lodge somewhere near a fireplace sipping your wine.
As a matter of fact, I spent the last 3 nights in front of the fireplace reading 2 books. I go back and forth. I read half a chapter in one and half a chapter in the other. I go back and forth. And one of them is a book by a guy named Jerry Eisenberg, who is a renowned sports writer for the Star Ledger, what used to be in Phil's early days, the Newark Star Ledger.
Right.
Right,
Right, Phil?
right.
I think you have to put your voice back on.
I do the same thing with Netflix, Joe.
Pardon me?
Watch 2 shows.
what are you watching on Netflix, Steve?
What's it called now? Actually, I'm a little bit more into Amazon Prime lately.
Oh, okay. I haven't gotten into Amazon Prime yet. I have an account, but
Oh, that's good.
The problem is with all these different, I don't even know what you call them. You need passwords, and I keep forgetting what my password is.
Yeah.
Oh, there's Jessica and Craig.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year.
Hey, Happy New Year.
Hey, Jess.
It's a nice sweater, Joe.
You're the second one that said that.
I'll set up a.
You're gonna have to duke it out with Steve over who gets it.
Seriously, that's a setup right there.
It's for sale. So this bid war going on.
Gosh.
Steve, did I hear you bid $50?
Yeah.
55.
65. Yeah, Craig dropped out already.
Well, yeah, seriously. I'm the underbidder.
You're the underbidder,
Yeah.
okay. There's Rob.
Good evening.
Hey,
Hi,
Hey,
Rob.
Rob.
Happy New Year.
Likewise.
Happy New Year to you.
So Craig, I sent you the oath of office, correct? You got it. And Wolfgang, I sent one to you as well.
That's
So
correct.
I'll just scan this and send it back to you tomorrow.
Yeah, you'll take the oath of office and then I guess sign it and Rob will actually we'll witness you signing it as best we can and then you can hold it up and show us and then get it back to me.
It's fine. Yeah, I'll drop it off, whatever.
Yeah, that's fine.
Well,
And
that's right.
our two new alternates are Amy Lawrence and Chandru Harjani.
Amy just dialed in here.
Yeah,
Yep, sorry, I'm just getting, there I am. Hi.
so I think we're just waiting on Joy. I haven't heard from Joy. I'm guessing she's gonna be here.
She'll be here.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
and the other alternate. Here's Mary. You want me to bring Mary over now?
No,
No? Okay. So just waiting on Joy and Chandru. So it's a relatively light meeting today, Joe. Relatively light meeting.
a light meeting, yeah, you said.
Only one application, which is
I know, one application.
unheard of.
How'd that happen? I figured.
How'd that
maybe
happen?
try.
I was out for most of December for
Oh,
I know.
because of quarantining. So it's just the way this was really the only one I was able to get on so they could do the noticing.
Have you tested non-positive?
What's that?
Have you tested?
No, I've tested twice. Yeah, I've been negative, but I was with my son and his whole family got it. So I had
Oh,
to,
wow.
yeah,
Are they okay?
they're okay now. Yeah.
Wow.
So. Well, you let me know when you want to start, Joe.
Do we have a quorum?
We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 7. We do have a quorum. Like I said, I didn't hear from Joy, so I'm sure hoping she'll come. I don't know. I didn't hear anything from her that she would not be here.
Just, I have a quick question for
What's that?
everybody before we begin. Does anyone know off the top of their heads from Robert's rules whether a chair of a meeting can make a motion?
yeah, sure. You can. The
Why
chair
not?
can make a motion.
The chair can make a motion?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, I didn't look it up.
Town council does it all the time,
Well, that doesn't mean anything.
but yes, you can.
it's okay.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll begin. Is it 7?
It is 7:01.
7:01.
Rob, do you want to do the oaths before we begin, or how do you want to do this?
Typically, we'll do the oaths first.
Okay, and
so
then
that
we'll
once
open the meeting?
Right, get sworn in. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, do you want to do them all together or individually?
I typically do them all together.
Okay, I'm missing the other alternate. That's the only reason I hate to.
Oh, yeah, I mean, we can do it twice, Eileen. It doesn't matter.
Okay. Alrighty, so we have Craig, Wolfgang, and Amy. Amy will be taking the oath as our first alternate,
First
and
alternate.
Craig and Wolfgang are going to be full members.
Okay, so if you'd like me to do that now, I certainly can.
Yeah, okay. You have a copy of it as well?
I do.
Okay.
So for those 3 members, if you would raise your right hands and repeat after me, please. I, and then state your name,
I, Craig
I,
Blader,
Amy Lawrence,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do
do
solemnly
solemnly
swear
swear or
or
affirm
affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that
that
I
I will
will
support
support
the
the
Constitution
Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the
and the
Constitution
Constitution of the State of
New Jersey,
New Jersey,
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same
and I will
and I
bear
bear true
true
faith
faith and
and
allegiance to the
allegiance to the
same
same,
and to the governments established in the United States and in this state,
and to the governments established
in
in
the
the
United
United
States
States and to the state,
and this state,
under the authority of the people.
under
under
the authority of the people.
people.
I do further solemnly swear or affirm
I do further solemnly swear or affirm
that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly
that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly
perform all the duties of the office
perform all the
all
duties
duties
of the office
of land use board member.
of land
of
use board
land use board
member,
member,
I'm sorry, Board of Adjustment member.
zoning board of adjustment,
zoning board of adjustment
Yes.
member.
According to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
ability.
So help me God.
So help me
So help
God.
me God.
Thank you for that. So now if you would each sign your oath of allegiance in office, if you have it. And then-
Mr. Harjani he joined in slightly
quickly.
after you started, but
We
My
have to do
apologies.
it over. I'm
do
sorry.
we have to do, okay,
I'll
My
do it
apologies.
much quicker though. How
okay.
about that?
Sure,
Good?
I'm ready.
Ready? I state your name,
I, Chandru Harjani,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I'll support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same
and I'll bear true faith and allegiance to the same
and to the governments established in the United States
and to the government established in the United States
and in this state
and in this state
under the authority of the people.
under the authority of the people.
I do further solemnly swear or affirm
I further do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly
that I will impartially, faithfully, and justly
perform all the duties of the office of Board of Adjustment member
perform all the duties of the Board of Adjustment member
according to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my abilities.
so help me God.
So I mean, God.
Thank you. So
Thank you.
now You just, I can see everybody signing and then holding up the paper
Oh, we need to sign right now?
if you have it.
Sign it.
Otherwise, I see Craig, I see Wolfgang.
I'll have to print it.
Okay, that's okay. We can do that later.
Okay.
Okay, I
Thank
will
you.
now take the roll. Okay. Craig Plattner,
Here,
Jody Sharma,
Here.
Joy Siegel,
Here.
Steve Toger,
Here.
Wolfgang Tutoris,
Here.
Amy Lawrence,
Here.
Chandru Harjani,
Here,
Jessica Glad,
Jessica, I think
Jessica?
you may not be on.
Now you're on.
Yes.
No, we're still not hearing.
Yeah. And well, Joe Steinberg, you're here.
Here.
She's muted. Do you want me to continue?
Yes, please.
Okay.
You want to
At this-
read the notice, please.
Yes. Where's my notice? Probably should have done that first, but. In accordance with Section 5 of the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975, be advised that notice of this meeting was made by posting on the bulletin board in Town Hall and mailing to the officially designated newspapers a list of the meeting dates annually indicating that this meeting would take place on Monday, January 11th, 2021 via Zoom webinar. Notice of this meeting, as well as relevant Zoom information, was posted on the Millburn Township Zoning Board page and posted on the front door of Millburn Town Hall. At this time, I will entertain a nomination for Chair of the Board for 2021.
Two things. Jessica's coming back in, so look for her.
Okay.
She's coming back in. And I'd like to nominate Joe Steinberg to chair the Millburn Zoning Board of Adjustment for 2021.
Second,
Is there a second?
second,
Craig Pletner,
Yes.
Jyoti Sharma,
yes,
Joy Siegel,
Yes.
Steve Toger,
Yes.
Wolfgang Tutoris.
Yes.
This is not here yet. Amy Lawrence,
yes.
Shanju Harjani.
yes.
Congratulations, Joe. It's all yours.
Thank you.
That's,
And thank you all for having trust in me for another year. Phil, you know that the years go on, right? I guess they do. In any event, I'd like to ask if there are any nominations from any member of the board for the position of vice chair.
I nominate Jessica Glad for Vice Chair of the Zoning Board of Adjustment.
Is there a second?
Second.
Craig Pletner,
Yes.
Jyoti Sharma,
yes,
Joy Siegel,
Yes.
Steve Toger,
Yes.
Wolfgang Tutoris,
Yes.
Amy Lawrence,
yes.
Joseph Steinberg.
Yes. Now we have to, it's our pleasure, I should say, to entertain motions or nominations for secretary.
Attorney first.
No, let's do
That's the one you
secretary
got.
first. Secretary is the most important position on the board.
That's because nobody else wants to do it.
Secretary of the zoning board. Is there,
Try as I might, I just,
you can't say no.
I don't know what I would do without it.
I don't know what we would do without you.
I love it.
Is there a nomination?
I'd like to nominate Eileen Davitt.
Is there a second?
Second.
Craig Pletner?
Yes.
Let me just bring Jessica over. Jyoti Sharma,
Yes,
Joy Siegel,
Yes.
Steve Toger,
Yes.
Wolfgang Tutoris,
Yes.
Jessica Glatt,
Yes.
Joseph Steinberg.
Yes.
Okay, Jessica, while you were away, you were nominated and approved as the vice chairwoman. So
Thanks.
that's what happens when you don't show up.
Right.
Very
Yeah, that's what happens when you go blank. Okay, now the next is a nomination, excuse me, for attorney for the Zoning Board of Adjustment of Millburn. Is there a nomination?
I'd like to nominate Rob Simon as a board attorney for the Zoning Board of Adjustment for 2021.
Is there a second?
Second.
Craig Plattner,
Yes.
Jody Sharma,
Yes.
Joy Siegel,
Yes.
Steve Toger,
Yes.
Wolfgang Tutoris,
Yes.
Jessica Glatt,
Yes.
Joseph Steinberg.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome and welcome aboard. You've
Glad
got big shoes. You've got big shoes to fill.
I have massive shoes to fill. I understand. that.
Massive shoes to fill, as you well know.
Yes.
But you've got all the
You'll be
tools to do it,
fine.
and we welcome you aboard.
Thank you. Look forward to it, Joe. Thanks.
I would like now to say a few words. At the last zoning board meeting, I said some historic, I hope, words about our attorney who was leaving us after, I don't even want to say the number of years. But we have now to go through our first meeting without Mary McNett, who is hearing this because she is in the audience. I wanted to say that the nature of our work on the board brings us together once or twice a month, and we really don't get to know each other very well unless we have occasion to know each other outside the halls of City Hall, or in this case, in recent months, outside the Zoom meeting. But I've known Mary McNett for many, many years. There are probably very few of you, if any of you, on the board who know that Mary McNett has spent 22 years on this board in two different time frames. 7 years before she ran for and was elected to the Township Committee, where she served for 12 years. And then she came back to this board and started again on this board on January 1, 2006. So Mary has been involved in municipal affairs on a very, kind of totalic basis for 34 years. I'm guessing that there are at least a couple of you who have passed your 34th birthday within a very short period of time in the past. See, do I see you smiling? I do. Okay. Mary has given a tremendous amount to this community in both capacities, both on the Township Committee and as a member of the Zoning Board of Adjustment. As you folks know who have served with her over the last several years, since you've all been on the board, she's been a powerful, powerful figure on this board. And by the way, Wolfgang, I want you to know that nothing I'm saying about Mary, because you're taking her place on the board, is in any way intended to be derogatory of your qualifications or your capacity, because I consider you a very, very smart guy, a very informed person, and somebody who is going to take that seat and over a period of years make it a seat that Mary would be very proud of.
It's going to
So-
take me a while to get to the point where I can serve the way she did, but I appreciate the comments and the sentiment.
Well, if there's anybody in this town who deserves to take her place, it's you. And thank you very much. In any event, her wisdom on this board, I don't have to talk about because you people have seen it in person over the years that you have been serving on this board. She knows this town inside out. She has lived here for almost as long as I have, which is saying something. That's 40 some odd years. I'm not even prepared to say exactly how many years it is, but I know we all feel the same way, way about Mary, but I just wanted her to know that I, for one, and I think I'm speaking for everyone on this board who has served with her, will miss her wisdom and her quiet but intensive view of every one of these applications tremendously. Mary is one of these people who, and I'm sure that's true of everyone on the board now, goes out to look, and she went out to look at every single one of the properties that has come before this board. That is a very, as you all know, that is a very, very critical part of what we do on the board. And I know I'm preaching here to the choir, but we had a case not long ago where if board members had not gone to the property, they would not have seen how important it was to move the proposed pool and accoutrements to the pool further toward the center of the property and away from the property line. It was very, very important to have actually been there and seen what was proposed by the applicants. And excuse me, Mary is one of these people who has done that consistently over the many, many years that she served on this board. So we start a new year with a some new faces on the board, and I welcome both Chandru and Amy, who I think will find that this is a very intensive and important role that they will be playing in the town. And I just want to say, and I welcome Rob, who has been before this board on many occasions as an attorney representing clients, but who knows how important it is for good counsel to be associated with a board. By the way, I said this last meeting, and I'll say it again now that Rob is here. For those of you who follow the law of this board of all land use boards closely, you know that there is a quote Bible that all attorneys look to determine what the law is. And that book not only talks in terms of the law, it also talks in terms of how people should behave on a board. And the book goes into great detail in talking about the role of an attorney. There are many attorneys who view their representation of zoning and planning boards as opportunities to, quote, show off and to make the meetings all about them, not about the work of the board. And Rob knows that as well as I do, and knows that we had an attorney for about 20 years on this board who could have been a role model for attorneys for boards. So we start this new year, and this, I hope, one year that'll be a better year than the one we've just been through. We start that year with great hopes for doing fine work for the municipality under the leadership of Eileen Davitt, who's really one of the few people probably in the state of New Jersey, maybe the only one, who holds down the positions of zoning officer, secretary to the planning board, and secretary to the zoning board. And she does all three jobs extremely well. So I look forward to this being a great year for this board and a great year for all of us and for the town. Okay, I think the next thing on the agenda was the resolution. I guess you call it the annual resolution, right?
The annual notice, yes.
Which sets the meeting dates for 2021. Is there anyone who's read that those minutes, those meeting dates, and would like to make a motion to adopt that resolution, that annual resolution?
Move approval.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, Joy,
Roll
thank
call.
you.
Craig Plattner,
Yes.
Jody Sharma,
Yes.
Joy Siegel,
Yes.
Steve Toger. There you go.
Steve,
Steve, you're muted.
Unmute.
I didn't
Yes.
hear.
Wolfgang Taturis,
Yes.
Jessica Glatt,
Yes.
Joseph Steinberg.
Yes. Now I'm going to say something now about another committee that we've had that is not set forth in the statute, but we have been very, very successful having a committee of people who work with our attorney to review resolutions of approval before they are actually presented to the zoning board. Now, Mary McNett was one of the two people on that committee, and Joy Siegel has been the other. Now Mary is gone. I want to say that the two qualifications we need for this position, and I only want someone to volunteer for it if you feel that you have both qualifications. One, a sharp eye for any mistakes, and I'm not just talking about mistakes of fact that are set forth in these resolutions, but also grammar, spelling, the whole ball of wax. That's one qualification. The other qualification is you've got to have the time and the willingness to work quickly. I'm astounded. I have been astounded over the last couple of years to see how fast Mary McNett and Joy read these these draft resolutions that come from the attorney, and how quickly they have gotten back to Gail Fraser, who has made virtually all of the recommended changes that have been made. So is there someone who feels that they have both of those qualifications and who would like to join Joy? Joy, you are willing to continue doing this, correct? Yes. she's shaking her head, yes. Nodding her head, I didn't say shaking it, nodding it. Is there anyone else who would like to volunteer to work with Rob on these resolutions? Don't overwhelm me with your willingness to come forward and be part of this project, but if there's someone who,
Yeah. I was gonna say,
As I'm
Okay.
taking, it seems fitting since I am taking the seat once held by Mary McNett that perhaps it should be up to me to take this mantle as well.
thank you. I take that as a yes. Thank you very much. Okay, so Joy, you now have a partner in crime, and that's great. Okay, so if I can read my writing here.
You have to approve the minutes.
Yeah, that's right. We have minutes to approve. That's what it says, but I'm having trouble reading my own writing. Do we have one set or two?
We only have one, October 19th. They got
October
skipped
19th.
on.
Okay, those are the ones that were circulated.
Yes.
Anybody have any changes, additions, corrections, whatever, to the minutes of October 19th? And I'm going to ask you to vote on those minutes only if you were present at that meeting. And Eileen, were all of the regular members of the board present?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Is there a motion to adopt those minutes?
Motion to adopt the minutes of 10/19/20.
Is there a second?
Second.
Who was that?
Me,
Did I
Jessica.
hear that?
Jessica.
Oh,
Okay.
Jessica, yes. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Aye, and raise your hand so I can see them. Any opposed? The minutes are adopted. Okay, we have, I think, one memorialization. Is that correct, Eileen?
Yes.
At Soltani at 377 Wyoming Avenue.
Yes. And it was a
That was
motion to deny. So
That
the
was a
only-
resolution to deny.
Correct. So the
Who's
only,
eligible to vote on that?
Craig Pletner, Jody Sharma, and Joy Siegel.
All right, so of those three, is there any one of the three who would like to make a motion to adopt that memorializing
motion.
resolution?
I'll make a motion.
Joy,
I would like to make a motion to adopt the memorialization.
second?
Second,
Judy? Thank you.
Craig Pletner,
Yes.
Jody Sharma,
yes.
Joy Siegel.
Joy?
Yes.
Okay, I didn't hear it. For those of you who are new to the board, let me explain that the reason that I asked Eileen who was eligible to vote on the resolution, there were two reasons. One, if you're not present at the meeting, you cannot vote on a resolution. Number two, if you vote in the opposite of the majority, you cannot vote on the resolution. There is case law to the effect that one vote is sufficient to adopt a memorializing resolution. But in the case that we just had, there were three people who voted in favor of denying the application, and that's why those three were called upon to vote. They voted unanimously, so the resolution of denial is adopted. Now, I think we have one application tonight, which is 427 Long Hill Drive. And I believe the way the applicants pronounce the name is Tishauer, but we'll find out in a minute. Can you bring them in?
Yes.
Hi, can you guys hear us? Sorry, I'm trying to. There we
I
go.
can hear you, but we
There you
can't,
are.
now we can see you.
You got it.
Hi, everyone.
All right, can we get them sworn, please?
Yes, can you both raise your right hand and repeat after me? Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're going to give this evening before this Board of Adjustment will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
We do.
We do.
Okay, please state your name individually and then provide your address.
Justin Tishauer, 472 Long Hill Drive.
Jenna Tishauer, 472 Long Hill Drive.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr.
All
Sherman.
right, Mr. Tishauer.
Yep.
I know you are an attorney
Good to
from
see you again.
a renowned law school in Cambridge, Massachusetts, which will remain unnamed.
Nice to see you again. Thank you, everyone, for taking our application. Appreciate you taking the time.
Proceed.
Oh, great. Thank you. So, again, thanks everyone for taking the time. As you know from our application, we live on the corner of Long Hill and Mohawk, and we're coming before the board today to seek a variance to allow for a fence to be constructed on a very small portion of our Mohawk Road street front property behind the trees that we've planted there. We live on a corner lot. Our backyard extends to Mohawk, as hopefully you can see from the survey that we included. So we're looking to put a small fence there to allow for our dog to have a fenced-in area to play in our backyard without cutting off the backyard. A few points that I'll note at the outset, because I don't think they might not have come across in the application that we sent in. First, the area in question is already enclosed by trees, and the fence will not be visible from the street. We'll maintain a natural quality as specified in the zoning ordinance. The fence will be four feet high, consistent with the height specified in the zoning ordinance. And the fence will be a black aluminum, so not chain link and not board on board as specified in the ordinance. And with that, I'll turn it over to you guys to see if you have any questions on the application.
Are there questions from board members?
I have a question.
Yeah.
In one of the diagrams that you submitted, it says 4-foot high aluminum fence and then 5-foot high aluminum fence.
Yeah.
Could you explain that, please?
Sure. The 4-foot high is going to be the street front part, and the 5-foot high is not street front. It's on the other side of the house. If you can see, I can actually share screen. It's not important. There's a very small part of our property between our property and the one next to ours on Long Hill that there'll be we're planning on putting a 5-foot high fence there with a gate. I don't think there's any magic to it. If the zoning board needs it to be 4 feet high, that would probably.
Well, actually, and Craig, that 5-foot fence does not require variance.
Right.
Right. That's what we thought.
As of right. It could be 6 feet tall. So it's
Okay.
just,
I have a couple of questions. Let me pose them. You say a 4-foot high aluminum fence, color,
Black.
and is it what is known as an estate fence?
Estate fence.
I don't know if that's, I don't know. Not sure.
What do you mean by say? I think it's going to be fairly similar to a lot of the fences that we see.
Well, there is, just for board members' purposes, I want to point out that catty corner to this property of the applicants, meaning across both Mohawk and Long Hill, on the kitty corner across from them, is a property that was before this board, and for a similar fence. The fence was approved with two conditions. One, that it be what is known in the trade as an estate fence, meaning it's got, I guess, sections of it up and down.
like wrought iron.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are they wrought iron, Eileen?
It's, I think that's typically what it is. Yeah.
And secondly, that the application across the street was approved, provided that the applicants install evergreen trees in front of any portion of the property that could possibly be seen from a street. And in this case, I think the portion of the fence that could be seen from probably both streets is that portion. And I'm looking at the job specification now of your contractor gave you.
Yeah.
The portion of it from the lower right-hand corner on this drawing, which I don't know whether anyone.
You want me to share, do you want me to share a screen? Would that be helpful for
Yeah,
everyone?
that would be very helpful.
Let me try that. Hold on one second, sorry.
You should share the one from Jan Fence. It has the
That's exactly the one that I was going to.
picture.
That's the one. Oh, it is Jan Fence, right?
Can you see this on my screen right now?
We see your folder
Right sheet
file.
of paper.
You haven't opened the PDF yet.
Okay, here.
We're not seeing the sheet that you
There.
attached.
Now, can you?
Now we can, yes.
Sorry about that. Got it. Okay,
But I'm talking now about the lower right-hand side, yes.
here,
Where you're now
cursor,
showing the
yes.
corner coming into the house.
Uh-huh.
Now, I
Yes,
assume that fence, and you tell me whether I'm correct, is proposed to be put not on the driveway, that indented portion of the driveway, but on the lawn. Is that correct?
yes, that's correct. And to be frank, I think as we talked about yesterday, we're planning on putting trees up the driveway anyway. So the fence would be behind those trees.
All right, well, that will be a condition of approval if this is approved. Joy,
I have three questions.
Uh-huh.
Do you have
Go.
an image? One is, do you have an image of the fence? Is it a solid or is it open frame?
Open frame.
So it's posts. Do you know how far the posts are on center from each other?
It would say it here. It says it on the jam.
Hold on, why don't you look in here?
Here, I'll look in here.
We'll get that for you.
Okay.
If you want to ask the other
Okay.
two questions.
The other question is, well, how far, this drawing is helpful in one regard, but then you had a drawing that's of the site plan. How far is this side along Mohawk from your property line, or from the curb, actually? Do you have a site plan that you could bring up?
I don't have it. I don't have it. I can't share it on the screen, unfortunately. I don't have that, but you're asking how far from the street to the fence?
Yes.
Is that what you mean?
Right, because in the drawing that I received in the package, it's a very small, it's like 1/4 of 8.5 by 11 sheet, and in red, it's marked, and it appears that the fence is right on the property line on Mohawk.
Well, the trees, it's behind our trees. Our trees are right on the property line.
So how much are you leaving for the trees?
We're putting the fence behind the trees. You're saying how far behind the trees?
Are you leaving between your proposed fence and the property line?
I don't know. We haven't, I don't know. Is there a minimum stipulation on how far away from the property line it has to be? It'll be consistent with whatever that is. I just don't have it in front of me.
Well, I don't think fences on property lines generally come up, though.
No, so the fence won't be on the property line because the trees, it's going to be behind the trees, right? So the trees are on the property line, so it's going to be a distance behind the trees. So if I'm looking up here, this is what you're referring to here?
No, I'm referring to the one that's perpendicular to that runs along Mohawk.
Oh, okay, so, right, so this property line is our property line facing Mohawk, and our fence will be behind that.
But how much?
How much behind it? I don't know. Is there a minimum? Or a minimum it has to be? It'll be consistent with the one as Joe mentioned, that's catty corner to our house, which is right up.
What is that? I don't know what that is, though. Because there's no dimensions. There's just the red line that's on the survey. And there's no dimensions about how, and also how far is it in terms of how far away from your driveway is it?
Our driveway is right here. On the bottom here. That leads up to our house. This is the side of our house. So our house faces Long Hill. Long Hill's here. Our driveway comes up this way.
The drawing that you're showing that was apparently done by the fence company is totally out of scale though. Like your house is very small proportionally to your yard. And if you look at the survey, it's totally out of scale. So what I'm asking for is, do you have a drawing that puts dimensions that are actually on scale? No, we don't. Well, it's hard to judge something then.
Understood. Just so I understand, what is the concern, aside from it being out of scale, but what is the concern about, like, if you tell me it needs to be, I
don't have a number because I don't know what there's for a number. I'm concerned.
But is there a number that you're fine with? Because, I
right
think
now
that
I'm
we're
just asking questions. So these are the questions.
Yeah. So I think that we're comfortable. We're comfortable with whatever the zoning board is comfortable with in terms of distance from the property, from the property line on this Mohawk side. If the zoning board is comfortable with it being behind the trees, which are along the property line, that's fine. And that's exactly how, again, as Joe mentioned, that's exactly how the house catty corner to ours is. If it needs to be a foot behind that, that's fine too. We're kind of.
But I thought I was told at one point, Joe, we don't talk in precedence. It's not about precedence. Each case has to be looked at individually.
Yeah.
That is a true statement.
So the fence diagonal to me doesn't mean anything. I would like to
see. No, I know.
I'm plan that's just to scale that's of the survey of the house. This drawing here is not helpful.
Well, it's helpful in that it shows the layout. It's not helpful in that it's not to scale. But so I guess the question is there something that the zoning board is concerned about with the proximity to the property line? Does it need to be a certain amount behind the property line?
Maybe I could help you with this. It's not that the zoning board is, see, you're asking for a variance on an existing statute. So it's incumbent upon you to justify to us.
Yep.
It's not us saying to you, make it 4 feet and it's fine. That's not the way this process works.
Yeah, understood. So I think ideally we would like it right up against the trees, which is 3 feet inside of our property line.
Maybe if we continue to look at this diagram, and again, I'm assuming that the green swirly represents the tree line.
Yes.
So it appears that at the top there, the fence is on the other side of the tree line.
That's right, because there's another house right here.
Okay.
I have a question. All right, I'm gonna go. So when I went by your house this weekend to look at the existing site conditions, I noticed it looked to me like these tree line, the bushes on this drawing go up to about where it says 25 in the middle line. They currently don't extend as far as they're shown in this picture, correct?
They do.
They do.
Yes. This
Okay.
is.
Maybe it's just the scale issue then that's throwing me off.
While crude and definitely not to scale, this is accurate in terms of where the trees are on the property. They go all along our property here, down Mohawk, and then partially up the driveway here.
And just to be clear, though, your testimony is that you're okay if this board were to insist that the trees be planted along the driveway on the lawn.
Yes.
And the fence be behind those trees.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, absolutely.
So in your application, you talk about the need for the fence related to home schooling and for the animal, your dog, to be outside.
Yes.
Can you help me understand how that could represent a hardship that would bring us to the granting of this variance?
Sure. Look, it's difficult to get the dog the exercise that they need while at the same time managing everything that has to be managed during what we're all dealing with right now. So to be able to let the dog go outside and run around while we can both work and handle schooling our kids and things like that, that would be that's what we were referencing when we referenced that in the homeschooling or home work from home environment.
Okay.
But this is a temporary condition, right? It's not a permanent
Right.
hardship.
Yep.
And it's a personal hardship. It's not a hardship related to the property. Is that right?
Well, I'm not sure I follow. It's a hardship related. It's a personal hardship that because the property is on a corner lot becomes a hardship that implicates the property.
But if it's to let the dog out.
No, it's just, I mean, I think
Well,
again, in a casual drive yesterday through the neighborhood, I counted 14 different properties that had the exact same fence that we're asking for here. Most of which did not have a pool. So I don't know if they all had similar kind of property hardships versus personal hardships. I think that it's fairly benign. It's a fairly benign ask in that it's going to be hidden from the street, consistent with the ordinance, as I mentioned, in that it's going to preserve the natural quality. It's going to be of the required height and the required material. And again, given everything that's going on, it would be extremely helpful for us to have it and alleviate a lot of things that we're dealing with.
Would it be accurate, or could it be said that the hardship is that were it not for that this is a corner lot, there would be no need for a variance?
But that's 100% true.
I mean, if there was, instead of Mohawk Road, if there were another property there.
Of course, yes.
If I could ask also one question on this drawing here.
Uh-huh.
On the driveway which is depicted there, it seems to be a completely straight. The driveway is straight on each side.
Yes.
But in actuality,
yeah, the driveway comes in a little bit.
It actually angles in, and then there's a
Yes.
basketball hoop there. Do you anticipate changing the driveway to be depicted as it is here, or is it going to remain? So then the fence is going to be behind that basketball hoop, and then behind also opposite the door.
Yes, exactly.
Opposite the door.
Exactly.
It looks like.
I can't read the date on that survey. Can you? It clearly does not show the driveway.
No, it doesn't. It's not that. You're right. That survey is not updated for the driveway, which comes in a little bit.
So can I interrupt for 1 second and ask?
Absolutely.
It seems like when I went to visit the property that you guys have like a temporary type fence.
Yes.
Is that fence basically in the area where you're planning on putting the permanent fence?
No, that fence is just a temporary one that frankly actually blows down every time it's windy outside.
Yes.
The fence will go along the trees. If you drove by our property,
I know the part that's coming out from the trees again, like going to your house. No, like in front of that. Yeah, that area. Is that kind of the same area where it would be?
Yeah, it's going to go like this around. So
that would be clearly.
Yes, the temporary fence that you saw goes like this.
Yes. Okay, so for any board member who might be having trouble, gauging where the fence is going, if we recall where that temporary fence is, that's the accurate.
Yeah, exactly.
Where the fence would be.
It changes this to this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Yeah. Can I ask Eileen a question? Eileen, I know the answer, but in this picture, the fence that's coming off the house on the right side of the house, if that was along the line of the red fence, it would still require a variance, right? It wouldn't matter if it was,
Yes, you're right. The only way it would not require variance would be if you see where his cursor is right now, and if you follow that all the way to the back, that would be.
Like this, where our temporary fence is.
right.
Exactly.
So to the applicant, any reason why you don't have that fence running straight across, you know, from
Like
the
this?
house? No, I'm sorry. Yeah, the line coming off the house to the right. Yeah. Why is that in that shape? Why is it not just straight across?
Instead of this way?
Yeah.
You're
No,
saying,
he's asking, why isn't the fence that you're proposing not drawn from the right-hand corner of the house in the back, directly across the lawn?
like
Right.
this,
The other
like
way,
this.
Yes.
the other way toward the neighbor.
No.
No, I think Steve is saying this way, right?
Justin's right.
You're
Yeah.
saying, why isn't it this way?
Yes.
Because we'd like it to go along the driveway,
Okay.
and not cut off, kind of like that would just render this part kind of awkwardly unusable.
Got it. Okay.
So let me ask the question that I thought was being asked.
Yeah.
Why isn't it sufficient for the dog if the fence is drawn,
This way,
is installed without the need for a variance
this way,
from the corner of the house? Yes, right across.
because then
the lawn.
that effectively bisects our backyard. We can't have a catch. We can't have a football game. We can't do anything in our backyard. You know, it splits the backyard into two. Right,
Any
if it
other
were here.
questions? Thank you. Any other questions from board members? Is there anyone on let's ask if there's anyone in the audience who has a question. First a question and then a comment. Eileen, has anyone raised their
I
hand?
need Mr. Teixeira to unshare his screen.
Oh, sorry about that.
I don't think there's anybody. Yeah, there's nobody in attendance right now.
No one in attendance, okay.
I had a quick question here. This is Chandru.
Yes.
For the applicant, how tall are the trees right now behind which the fence is going to be put? Roughly? Is it taller than?
They're probably 10 feet tall right now.
Okay.
And they're evergreens.
Yeah, and they're evergreens. Yeah, they're growing fairly rapidly.
And I apologize, I haven't been through the property, but how far apart are they and how many of them are there?
They're kind of, you can't see through to the prop. We put them in ourselves. They're private. They're meant for privacy, so they're fairly close together. And they're all fused together. And how many
Like
do we put?
20,
20 something. Yeah, 25 trees.
Thank you.
Any other questions from board members? All right, board members, let's discuss this matter. Anyone want to lead off?
I'll start. I'm usually not in favor of front yard fences, but when I went out to visit the property, I think that this fence is going to be extremely well screened. I saw a lot of other similar fences on properties that were, corner lots in the neighborhood. I don't think that it would be out of place, and I would be comfortable approving this, with the stipulation that trees get planted along the front part to mask the fence.
Along the portion from the existing trees to the house.
Exactly. The one portion that's not already masked by trees. I mean, those evergreens that are there are extremely tall and thick. And I mean, you can't see anything behind them. So I just, I don't see any harm in allowing the applicant to put up a fence.
Thank you, Jessica. Is there anyone else?
I agree with Jessica's comments. Putting a fence that would comply bisecting the yard, I think is unreasonable. As much as it would be nice to have this fence comply, I think splitting the yard in two would render it somewhat not usable. So I would be in favor of the application.
Would you also be in favor of the condition that Jessica indicated about the installation of trees?
Absolutely.
Yes?
Absolutely, yes.
Anyone else?
Well, I agree with the comments and sentiments of both Craig and Jessica. I guess the only thing that comes to my mind that I would like to mention is that I was looking back through my notes, and just for the sake of consistency, I do recall an application that we saw some time ago, I think almost a year ago, a little more of a year ago, at 45 Deer Park, I think, that had a similar situation. And maybe there were some differences that I'm just not recalling. But it was a similar situation as I remember it, and we denied that application. And again, like I agree with everything that Craig and Jessica have said, but I just want to raise the point that this board has decided differently on what appears from my memory in my notes to be a similar matter.
They're still independent matters, so I don't think that makes a difference, but maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, I don't think each one will create a precedent at all. But to touch back on that case that you mentioned, to make that fence comply on Deer Path did by no means cause the yard to become useless. It gave them slightly less as they were trying to circulate, like make a round loop over the peninsula of the yard. But this is quite a bit different, as the way the house is situated on the lot to make it comply would be a burdensome request, as that by no means would have. Yes, it would have made them lose a little bit of the run for their dog, but by no means would have been and was not unreasonable.
Okay.
But once again, there's no precedent, so.
Okay.
I just want to say that I'm not sure why it has to be either all or complete compliance. I think that having a street that's essentially almost on the property line isn't the right thing to do. But I also agree that bringing it back to compliance would completely split the lot, and that's not appropriate. I don't understand why it can't be brought in more, like 5 feet.
Well, as long as it's not in the right of way, I don't see why it would be an issue. Whether it's in 10 feet, 20 feet, as long as they're not putting the fence in the right of way from the street, which is, how far is that off, Eileen? 20 off the street?
It's got to be at least
14?
12 feet. It's got to be at least 12 feet off the curb line.
Right.
Know?
So assuming that the trees aren't planted in the right of way, there's no reason why this fence wouldn't comply with zoning. So whether it's 15 feet, 20 feet, or 30 feet, if it complies, it complies.
Yeah, I'm just talking like aesthetically. I think that the trees, and then with the addition of the fence, presents it as a hard edge to the street. And I would prefer to see the fence brought back and more landscaping brought in, and not such a wall to the street. So yeah, that's.
Fence would be more visible if they brought it in anymore. Like if it's
not if it was landscaped. I realize that if it was left empty, but if it was landscaped through in some way, I think it would be softened. I think it's hard. I think leaving the trees, I think it makes the wall, and it's not a rear yard. It is a front yard. Even the house does have 2 front yards, and that's a problem for the house, but it does. And that street, I don't think should have such a hard edge.
It might be useful if somebody would like to make a motion. Let's see if we can get a motion on the floor that we can debate. Is there a motion?
Move approval of the application with the addition of the trees.
The trees along the driveway,
Or the driveway,
but on the lawn.
correct, on the lawn. Minimum of at least 4 feet high from the root ball up.
Evergreens.
Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Jessica seconded it.
Craig Plattner,
Yes.
Yodi Sharma,
No.
Joy Siegel,
No.
Steve Toger,
No.
Wolfgang Tutoris,
Yes.
Jessica Glatt,
Yes.
Joseph Steinberg.
Yes. What is
Motion
the
carried.
tally? What is
4
the tally,
carried.
Eileen?
4 in favor,
Okay.
3 opposed.
Great.
It carried.
It's carried.
It's approved.
Good luck with the project.
Thank you very much. Appreciate the time. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you,
Happy New
everyone.
Year. Thank you.
Any other business to come before the meeting?
I don't think so.
Now, our next meeting is
February
February
1st.
1st.
And this will be the same, unlike last time, you had a different Zoom login for every meeting. This is the same login for all the meetings for 2021. So save
Eileen,
it
could
somewhere.
I make a request? And I'm not trying to make things hard for you, but since most of us click on the line that
You can do that on the website. If you go to the township website, you can click on that
oh,
hyperlink.
you can.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't know if I can, because of the way we had to set it up in order to use the same login. It doesn't come back. It doesn't, I can't put it on the calendar and send it to you that way. I can send it to you at the beginning, on the day of every meeting, just like I did with
Could you do
this.
that? Could you do that?
Yeah, that's not a problem.
Thank you. I appreciate
But you're saying that if we just save this document that was attached and we open the document, click on the link.
You
bring-
should be fine. Yep.
it. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Amy, Mr. Chairman, let me just interrupt just for 1 second. Amy, did you have a chance to print out? Oh, great. Awesome. I acknowledge viewing your signature.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. Thank you, Mr. Cullen.
You're welcome. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Raise your hand.
Aye.
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 See you on
For the rest
February
of the month.
1st.
1. Right.
Thanks very much.
Thank you. Good
Good night,
night.
guys.
Good night.
Night.
Eileen.
Thank you.
Yes.
Be safe.
I want to talk to you when everybody's gone. Mr. Steinberg is still. Oh,
There you
I
go.
just want
What's
to
happening?
mention, I just want to mention that, I don't know, when they share the screen and they bring up the document,
Yeah,
all the faces go off.
they do.
Well, I know, but how do we know who's speaking? It's hard,
Um,
it's almost impossible to tell.
You
Plus,
should get just the 4, like I get 4, everyone goes away except I get only
we
4
make 3 or 4 on the right
on the
side.
right. You can scroll through them, but
I can't do anything. I have to write on the machine. The court reporter has to write down on the machine.
yeah,
And you don't know who's speaking, so it's like a guess.
yeah.
The other thing is you have to have, this is different than being live in
Mhm.
front of everybody. And what happens is that when people start speaking over each other, the Zoom cuts it out
Oh, yeah.
and it's
And
not
you don't
there.
hear anything.
So you have to really
I'll
try to
remind them
control it a little bit.
going forward. I'll let them know.
Yeah, but, all right,
All righty.
that's it.
Have a good night, Bill.
Yeah, thank you, you too.
Bye-bye.